Hello fellow brawlers, I'm Kairos Time and it is time to brawl. Today we've got a very special video for you, the continuation of the Brawl Stars Brawler Tier List, where we take a look at all of the game modes in the game and then show you guys the best brawlers for each of those game modes. Hope you enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I think that you're going to enjoy it. If you are new to Brawl Stars or new to the channel, basically what we've got going on right here is this Brawl Stars tier list is the combination of a bunch of discussion that was had by several pros over 10,000 trophies in Brawl Stars. They're out there grinding, they're playing all the different brawlers and all the game modes with every balance change, trying to figure out the best brawlers in each game mode, and this tier list is the result of all of that hard work. Now I will say, if you are new to the tier list, I actually really recommend taking screenshots of these various tiers, because one of the best ways that you can push in Brawl Stars is making sure that you are playing good brawlers for the specific game mode that is happening right now. So if Gem Grab comes up, you go ahead and pull out that Gem Grab tier list, figure out which brawlers are the best options for you to be playing at the moment, and focus on playing those. And your other brawlers, make sure you're pushing them where they do pretty well. Now for this tier list, primarily what I'm going to do is talk about specific brawlers that have changed a spot in the tier list since the last episode, and that change could be brought on either by a nerf or a buff, or just a change in the meta that causes them to actually particularly shine or do worse than they did before. Let's go ahead and start this off with Gem Grab, guys. We've got Poco going from the B tier all the way up into the S tier. Then we have Pam being shoved down by Poco from the S tier down into the A tier as another A tier gem carrier. We also have Rico going down to the A tier, Frank getting bumped up into the A tier, and then in the B tier we've got Crow going down and Dynamite going down as well into the B tier. One other thing to mention is the fact that Daryl is moving from the B tier in Gem Grab to the unranked tier because he just simply is not at a competitive level at this point. Okay guys, let's go ahead and start off by talking about Poco. Now Poco, with his recent buffs, is just absolutely insane, guys. He is actually S tier in four out of 6 of the game modes, which is just absolutely crazy. He just does such a bunch of damage from a fairly recent or good distance, and he attacks that so fast. He's so good right now, guys. And the fact that his burst heal can travel so far in such a fast period of time really makes him the best gem carrier in the game, replacing Pam from the last tier list, who is going down to the A tier. Now Pam is still a pretty great brawler, actually. She's really fantastic, but I do think the fact that she is getting outshined by Poco so much is the reason why she is now into the tier list. Rico's also going down into the A tier. His nerf actually makes him so that he's a little bit less viable on so many maps. The thing with Rico is that he was so good on basically every map in Gem Grab, and now he's pretty good on a lot of the maps still, but there are some maps that the decrease in his range actually influenced some of those interactions that made him a little bit less strong on them, which is why he's going from the S down to the A tier. Next we have Frank, who is going up into the A tier. Frank is literally the only tank in Brawl Stars that does have the range and damage from of distance that allows him to actually be successful in Gem Grab. He has a ton of HP, which makes him really pair well with Poco, who can heal him from a good distance, and that makes him a really great aggro brawler for Gem Grab. Crow is going down to the B tier because he just does not do as great of a job as he used to in comparison to other brawlers. He still does a good job. You can still play him in Gem Grab maps, not as a support gem carrier hybrid like you used to be able to do so, but as a support brawler whose main job it is to just try and keep people at a distance. Lastly, we have Dynamite, who is going down into the B tier as well. Dynamite's recent nerf just made it so that he isn't quite as strong as he used to be. It used to be so easy to land all of his shots and deal tons of damage, and now he just seems to be in a little bit of a better situation where he is pretty map dependent. There are some Gem Grab maps that work really well with him, where he's able to hide behind walls and such, like Mushroom Cave, but he definitely is not strong enough to really outshine other brawlers on other maps that don't have a lot of walls on it. Up next we have Showdown, with Poco going up into the S tier again, and then we also have Spike also going up into the S tier. Bo is going up into the A tier. Mortis is actually also going up into the A tier, and then we have Barley and Dynamite, who are going from the S tier into the A tier. Now before we talk about these specific brawlers, it's important that I explain very clearly that Showdown is a little bit different in competitive Showdown than it is for lower trophies in Showdown. So if you're watching this and you are new to Brawl Stars, pay close attention, but also recognize that the meta might be very different in the competitive level where there's lots of teaming and you have to be worried about backstabbing and things like that than there is in the lower level where you don't really have to worry about that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about Poco, okay? So Poco is going up into the S tier. His recent busts just really make him fantastic, but on top of that, the fact that he's so easy to team with. He's not really threatening. His super is just very self-serving. It doesn't do anything against other people or anything like that, and he has a fairly decent amount of HP that allows him to survive on top with his super, so it's really hard to take him out, but he's also able to team very well with a lot of brawlers, difficult to backstab, and that is why Poco is going up into the S tier. On the flip side, we have Spike, who is fairly easy to backstab, but you don't want to backstab a Spike when he's too close to you because he can land those 3 burst shots on you really quickly and deal tons of damage and can literally take out the majority of brawlers in 3 quick shots. On top of that, when he does have his star power, he can throw it down on the ground, and that adds even more versatility to him in being able to backstab large groups of people or things like that and also deal a ton of damage. Next, we have Bo going up into the A tier. Now, Bo, the fact that he's able to do so well on Feast or Famine and also Thousand Lakes, and the fact that he's actually pretty decent on other maps as well, is one of the reasons why Bo is actually going up into the A tier. Next, we also have Mortis going up into the A tier. Mortis is an interesting one. His recent speed buff actually made it so that he is able to get closer to enemy brawlers, particularly throwers, and that makes Mortis actually pretty decent on maps where throwers are really prevalent. His ability to run away from really threatening situations is another reason why Mortis does so great in Showdown right at this moment. And the fact that he's able to do so well highly influences Barley's and Dynamite's ability to be able to actually stay competitive in competitive Showdown, even on maps where they used to thrive so well. And this is actually one of the main reasons why they are going from the S tier into the A tier. It used to be that if you were a Dynamite or a Barley, you just get all of the other Dynamites and Barleys and you kind of team up in the center and kind of slowly take people out. Now with Mortis being able to really get close to these brawlers and to try and like take them out, they really do struggle a little bit more, and one Mortis can actually, it's kind of like a shark getting into a group of a school of fish, right? He just kind of causes chaos and nobody can do anything about it, and that's kind of what's happened with these thrower brawlers. Next, we have Duo Showdown. Now, in the last tier list, Duo Showdown was just one map, and it was Double Trouble. Now, it's available on every single map, and the meta has changed pretty decently because of it. For starters, we got Poco going up into the S tier. We have Mortis going up to the A tier. Piper and Tara being removed from the S tier into the A tier. We got Bo going up into the B tier, and Jesse and Pam being removed from the B tier as they are no longer competitive. I mentioned that Poco just does such a great job, guys. He is so strong right now with his recent balance changes, and he does particularly well in Duo Showdown. Now, not only is his super non-threatening, but he's actually able to help support a friendly brawler, which, on top of his additional offense and ability to really pinch people and keep them pushed back and keep them from healing up, makes Poco a really fantastic option. In fact, in Lex and I's most recent Duo Showdown tournament, Poco and Brock seem to be the #1 comp in majority of the maps, which is really an interesting combination right there. Up next, we have Mortis going up in the A tier. His versatility and ability to really move around does a couple of things for him. It makes it easy for him to really take people out that are weak and kind of finish them off, but also if he's in danger, it makes it really easy for him to run away and actually avoid people getting or taking him out until his teammate can actually respawn, which is one reason why Mortis does such a great job. Piper is going from the S tier into the A tier. Piper really is still a fantastic option for Double Trouble, for the map Double Trouble, but the fact that there are other maps now for Duo Showdown just means that she just isn't quite as good on all of the maps. Still a solid option as she is able to take out quite a few people in so few shots as well. Tara is going to be removed from the S tier into the A tier, mostly because of her inability to really deal a ton of damage from a distance and the fact that it takes so long for her to super to charge up. She's still a great option, just not quite S tier like she used to be. On top of that, we have Bo going up into the B tier for the first time. He is fantastic on specific maps, like I mentioned, Feast or Famine or Thousand Lakes, and then there are a couple other ones that he does a pretty decent job at. And the fact that his star power gives him additional sight that also benefits his teammate is what really makes him so good on those particular maps, which is why he's in the B tier. Next, we have Heist, where the S tier is basically staying the same, except for the fact that Bull is going from the S tier down into the A tier. Spike is going up to the A tier as well as Shelly, and Bo is coming into the Heist tier list for the first time, starting out in the B tier. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about Bull, okay? So Bull used to be considered an S tier brawler, but really, when it comes down to it, he's kind of like a second-rate Daryl, which is why he's moving from the S into the A tier. In fact, there's only really one map where I'd rather pick a Bull over a Daryl, and that would be GG Corral. Other than that, almost every single time I want to go for a Daryl instead. There are some maps where I would want to have a Daryl and a Bull together, but typically, if you have to choose one or the other, you go with a Daryl because he's just so great at getting close to that safe with his super. As such, Bull, still a great option. This is a great area for you to really push him, probably one of the best places for you to push him, particularly on GG Corral. Now let's go ahead and talk about Spike and Shelly. The meta for Heist has actually kind of shifted a little bit. It used to be kind of like everybody tries to consistently try and build up their supers and then just go in as one massive force, and that still is one option, but what seems to be particularly efficient now is to have two brawlers that do a really great job at going on the offense and one brawler that does it mostly focuses on defense, where they kind of stay back, and that's what both Shelly and Spike do. They lay back on certain maps and just wait for enemy Daryls or Bulls to come in, and then they blast them with 3 shots and then drop their supers and clears them almost instantly before Bull and Daryl can actually get any damage enough to build up their super again. It effectively wastes their super, which is a really great way to put your team at an advantage in Heist. Up next, we also have Bo being in Heist for the first time in the B tier. Bo is an interesting one. He does a really good job on certain maps where he's able to see into grass and know where people are. But on top of that, his mines do a really good job either on offense or on defense. If you guys are winning, he throws those mines on the safe, and that means that your Bull or Daryl can go right up onto the safe, and enemy Bulls and Daryls have to go over to try and deal enough damage, and so they get blasted by the mines, and then the mines do additional damage to the safe. And you can also do that same thing on your safe if you need to play defensively, where you drop your mines on there, and then when the Bull or Daryl tries to get close, they get blasted by the mines, and you're able to take them out. Overall, there are probably better options than him, but Heist does seem to be one mode where he does a pretty decent job, particularly on maps where there are lots of grass. Next, we have Brawl Ball, where you have Poco going up into the S tier. Once again, Spike as well going up into the S tier, Shelly and Colt going down into the A tier, and then Crow as well going into the B tier. On top of that, we're actually going to remove Dynamite from the Brawl Ball tier list because he just is not competitive any longer. He's okay on one map, but even then there are better brawlers than him. Let's go and start off with Poco. And then move on from Poco because I've already talked about him enough. He basically is just really fantastic. He controls a large area and heals people really quickly. That's a Brawl Ball dream right there, so I don't know what else to say. Spike is also kind of a similar situation where you can deal so much damage so quickly. He's really good against tanks and things like that, and a really solid option against Mortis, who is a very great ball carrier, if you know how to play him right. He definitely is S tier in the hands of the right person, and F tier in the hands of the wrong person, so that's another story. We also have Shelly is going from the S tier into the A tier. Shelly was particularly great when there were a lot of tanks in Brawl Ball, but now with tanks not being so prevalent, she kind of gets outclassed by Poco, who's able to deal more damage from a distance than she is, and so it's she definitely has a situation. She does really great against like tanks and Frank. Frank, of course, she sees a Frank and she's like, oh yeah, I'm so excited about this, but just struggles otherwise. Colt as well as being, it's interesting, we have wall breakers here not doing too well in the Brawl Ball competitive match. In fact, almost always the best situation is to go for three brawlers that do a good job at controlling the field, and Colt still is a great option particularly if you have the right comp surrounding it, but is no longer the S tier like he used to be. We also have Crow going from the A tier into the B tier. Crow is just not great at controlling the field like he used to be since his recent nerf. He's still a good option. You could probably push him in Brawl Ball. There might be better options for him, but overall, just not as good as he used to be. Lastly, guys, we have Bounty, which is a very interesting one. We have Penny going up into the A tier. We have Rico going from the S tier down into the A tier. And then we also have Barley going up into the B tier and Bounty for the first time in a while, and then Colt going down into the B tier. Bounty is a very interesting one, guys, where we have Rico no longer in the S tier. He is still a great option, and one of the 4 options that you would want to consider playing with Brock and Piper. That being said, you always want to play with Brock or Piper. They're just too fantastic in Bounty to not play. But as for that third brawler that you're going to choose, now you have an option of going with Bo. You also have Penny, whose turret now attacks faster, and it really does a great job at displacing enemy brawlers, particularly if you're able to get that supercharged up. She does a really fantastic job as well. But then you also have Dynamite, who does a pretty good job on certain maps, and then Rico as well. So really, depending on the map, you might want to go with one of those 4 brawlers. It's definitely going to be interesting. We also do have Colt going down to the B tier. His range just isn't quite good enough. There are other options that are just simply better than Colt in most circumstances, though he is a good brawler for Bounty. Then we have Barley, who is going up into the B tier with his recent buffs. He's actually pretty decent. Dynamite still seems to be a better option than him, but he can do good damage from a distance and also help control the field, which is one reason why Barley seems to be pretty great right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you drop a comment in the section below if you have any questions about various brawlers, if you have any opinions on whether or not some of the brawlers should be in different tiers or whatever, or anything like that. And guys, absolutely a huge thank you to the pro players. Well over 10,000 trophies. Some of them are over 15,000 trophies, guys. We got Coach Corey, Cradu, Death Star, Illustria, It's the U Day, Lex, LOL, Master Walrus, Money to Capital, Olive Oil, Pika, Portal, Prodigy, Real Canadian, Shadow Jutsu, and The Secret. You guys are the really MVPs. Thank you so much for helping out so much with this tier list, guys. For now, this is Kairos Time ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.